Hello and welcome to another SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So, in this episode I will be discussing Disney's 1990 animated adventure, The Rescuers Down Under. Basically watched as part of our family film night series again. With this being Disney's 29th animated classic and produced as a sequel to the 1977's The Rescuers. So this makes it the first of its kind, may I add, with this being the very first theatrically released sequel of an earlier movie released by Disney. The film sees us introduced to a young boy named Cody, who has an affinity and friendship with the animals of the Australian outback. In fact, he can talk to them and understand them as they can him. Well, some of them at least anyway. So that, basically, that did Disney magic, eh? Walking through the outback one day, the critters alert Cody to the golden eagle, which is caught in a poacher's trap, and they need his help to free it, which, to be fair, does involve quite a perilous free solo climb up a sheer mountain face, which Cody does without question. Quite a brave kid, if you ask me. I doubt his mother knew what he was doing. Once the eagle has been freed, he then goes on to encounter the unscrupulous poacher Percival C. McLeach, who then proceeds to fake Cody's death and kidnap him in order to make him reveal the location of the eagle and its eggs. A mouse who has witnessed the kidnapping starts a sequence of events that send a message to the Rescue Aid Society, run by mice in New York, and, as it did in the previous film, representing different nations of the world, echoing our very own United Nations. And therein enters our two Muran heroes from the original film, Miss Bianca and Bernard, both voiced by the same actors who actually reprised their roles from the first film, Eva Gabor and Bob Newhart respectively. Adventures then ensue as Miss Bianca and Bernard accept the mission to save Cody and embark on the long-haul journey to Australia, aided by Wilbur the Albatross, who is voiced by John Candy and is actually the brother of the albatross we met in the first film, Orville, whilst Cody proceeds to actually hatch his own daring escape plans. So, I did find the film, it does rely more on slapstick gags and humour than its predecessors, and does contain a number of sidebar storylines which don't really seem to add anything to the overall plot, such as a scene where the albatross is in hospital run by mice. And whilst, yes, this is very comical, it didn't have anything to do with the story at all. In fact, the rescuers themselves almost seem secondary to the story and spend most of their time travelling to Australia. Now, don't get me wrong, I know it's a long way from New York, where the rescuers were based, but due to this, they don't really get stuck into the actual rescuing of anybody or anything until the very end of the film. To be honest, Wilbur the Albatross has more screen time than the rescuers do. And whilst I do think the film will be a hit with the little ones, given the antics portrayed on screen, it's sure to tickle their funny bone. It definitely did our sons. There wasn't much in it for the adults, and to me it felt a little stale and a little bland in this respect. I thought that this was perhaps a surprising direction to actually take with the movie, following the tremendous success of The Little Mermaid, which was literally the film which preceded it, and The Beauty and the Beast, which then followed it. It almost seemed like, to me, that they wanted to ensure that the movie had to fill, basically they had a movie to fill the void between the two movies, and then so cobbled together The Rescuers Down Under, which does almost feel like it was just sort of like a number of stories put together into one, with the rescuers thrown in to give the film kind of an angle. I don't disagree that it was a nice enough story, and it was endearing enough, and one which carries quite a strong and still relevant ecological message, but one which doesn't have the heart and the soul of the original, and it didn't really progress the world of the rescuers in any way, but for maybe trying to expand on the relationship between Miss Bianca and Bernard. In my opinion, the animators really spent more time, it would appear, on the scenery and the grandscapes than the filmmakers did on the overall story. Perhaps the movie simply followed too late from the original to make any kind of real significant impact. Who's to say? I am afraid to say, but it almost has an almost like direct-to-video feel to it, even though in fact it was released in movie theatres. In fact, DuckTales, Treasure of the Lost Lamp was also released in the same year as The Rescuers Down Under, and was the first Disney to be produced by the Disney television animation and released by the Disney Movie Toons. And this, for me, being a very similar sort of adventure style Disney, it's the better entry of the two. It's much more coherent, with a decent story arc, better animation, and just lots more fun, with a great sense of adventure, with a real kind of Aladdin meets Indiana Jones style twist. The film, Rescuers Down Under, it is unique, well, at least when it was released, for the fact that it contains no songs at all. No sing-alongs, no incidental songs over certain scenes, just a musical score by Bruce Broughton. Now, I think it very much depends on your viewpoint with Disney movies as to whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing. But I think in this very specific case, it was perhaps a mistake. I understand that the filmmakers wanted to kind of distance the movie from having kind of any musical numbers, as it was felt that they would kind of slow the pace of the movie. However, I feel that given the use in the original to convey certain moods and feelings, I think they could have been beneficial in this movie, helping to really kind of soften its tone and make it feel more like a Rescuers movie, perhaps. One of the things that did bemuse me was the rules regarding which animals Cody could actually talk to and which could communicate with and kind of understand him. And indeed, not just with Cody, but between the animals themselves. For instance, Wilbur the albatross can talk to other animals, and he sort of talks to some flamingos as he's flying. But either they can or they won't talk to him. That's not really very clear. And strangely, neither can the eagle. The eagle can't talk. So, yeah, while most of the animals can do it, some can. So very odd. Very odd. Don't know the rules. So, overall, as a sequel to The Rescuers, I would say that this film does fail to hit the mark. I believe it's a fairly fun adventure movie. It's not too bad, but I suppose it's watchable. It's certainly one for the younger viewer. Adults, well, perhaps worth a watch for Disney aficionados, but otherwise, if you want to watch something similar from around the same time, then personally, I would watch DuckTales the movie instead. So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more content, such as more movie reviews, and of course, movie trailer reactions, which we're just starting to do. But of course, all kinds of things movie related on SciFirst MovieTalk. So thank you for watching. We do hope to see you again at SciFirst MovieTalk. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.